The doctor's name was Mira. She was human too. A woman in her 50s with gray hair and kind eyes. She had left Earth 20 years ago to bring medicine to places that needed it. Her clinic was small, hidden in a corner of the station that most people never visited. But it was clean and warm and full of healing. When Do-yoon brought Vala through the door, supported by his arm around her waist, Myra did not ask questions. She did not look at Vala's purple skin or her dark eyes. She did not care that she was Kelly. She only saw a patient who needed help. "Put her on the bed," Myra said. "Let me see that arm." The treatment took 2 hours. Myra cleaned the wound properly. She gave Vala medicine to fight the infection. She used real healing technology, not just basic gel from a kit. The black and purple lines on Vala's arm started to fade. The fever broke. Vala would live, while Myra worked. Do-hyun sat in the waiting room with the furry alien who had guided them there. The alien's name was Bobo. He was a trader from a distant system. He sold small goods at the station market. "I've been thinking," Bobo said quietly, "about what you said earlier. About how it's never too late." Do-hyun nodded. "What about it?" "I've done bad things, human. Not big bad things. Small ones. Looking away when I should have looked. Staying silent when I should have spoken. Telling myself that it wasn't my problem." Bobo's small eyes looked wet. "I told myself that the Kali deserved to suffer. That it was justice for what their ancestors did. But watching you today, I don't know anymore. What if I was wrong?" Do-hyun thought about that for a moment. "Being wrong is okay," he said. "What matters is what you do after you realize it." Bobo nodded slowly. Maybe you're right." Outside the clinic, something strange was happening. Word had spread. In a station with thousands of beings, news traveled fast. The story of the human who helped Akali was moving from mouth to mouth, from screen to screen. Some people laughed at it. Foolish human. Doesn't know any better. Will learn soon enough, but others felt something different. Something uncomfortable. Something that made them look at themselves and not like what they saw. By the time Vala walked out of the clinic, leaning on Do-hyun's arm but standing on her own feet. There was a crowd waiting outside. Vala froze when she saw them. Her old fear came rushing back. Crowds meant danger. Crowds meant hate. Crowds meant rocks and words and pain. But these beings were not throwing rocks. They were just standing there, looking at her. Some with curiosity, some with shame, some with something that might have been the beginning of understanding. A tall alien stepped forward. It was the same blue-skinned official who had challenged Do-hyun earlier. His face was different now. Less angry. More tired. "I have been thinking," the alien said, "for hours. About what happened. About what the human said. About what I have believed my whole life." He paused. The crowd was silent. "I was taught to hate the Kali," he continued. "My parents taught me. Their parents taught them. It has been this way for hundreds of years. But today, I watched a human from a young species show more compassion than I have shown in my entire life. I watched him do what all of us should have done. And I felt shame." The alien looked directly at Vala. "I do not know if I can change who I am. I do not know if I can forget everything I was taught. But I know that I was wrong to walk past you. I was wrong to let you suffer. And I'm sorry." Vala did not know what to say. No one had ever apologized to her for being cruel. No one had ever admitted they were wrong. She started. "Thank you. Thank you for saying that." Others in the crowd began to speak. One by one, they shared their thoughts. Some apologized. Some confessed their shame. Some promised to do better. Some were still confused, still unsure, still wrestling with years of belief. But they were talking. They were thinking. They were questioning what they had always accepted as true, and that was a start. The furry trader Bobo stood up on a small box so everyone could see him. "I have a suggestion," he said loudly. "Many of us feel bad today. Many of us want to do something. But feeling bad is not enough. We need to act." He pointed at Vela. This woman was hurt and alone. She had nowhere to go. How many others are like her? How many Kayleys sit alone on benches, waiting to die? How many beings do we walk past every day without seeing? The crowd murmured. "I say we change that," Bobo continued. "I say we create something here. A place where anyone can come for help. Kelly or not. Rich or poor. Any species. Any history. A place where we remember that we are all just beings trying to survive in a big, cold universe." There was silence. Then, slowly, voices started to agree. "I'll donate credits," someone said. "I'll volunteer my time," said another. "I have medical supplies," added a third. Within an hour, a plan was forming. A shelter. A clinic. A place of hope in a station that had forgotten what hope meant. And at the center of it all was Do-Yoon, the ordinary human from Earth, the one who had just sat down next to a stranger and asked if she was okay. Viola watched all of this with wonder in her eyes. She had expected to die today. Instead, she had found something she never thought possible. Not just help. Not just kindness. A community. Later that night, when the crowds had gone and the station was quiet, Vila and Do-Hyun sat together on the same bench where they had first met. The metal was still cold. The air still smelled like fuel and metal. But everything felt different. "I don't know how to thank you," Vila said. "You saved my life. You changed everything." Do-Hyun shook his head. "I didn't change anything. The people here changed themselves. I just reminded them that it was possible. That's more than anyone else ever did." They sat in comfortable silence for a while. Ships came and went. Stars shined through the glass ceiling. "What will you do now?" Do-Hyun asked. Viola thought about it. For the first time in years, she had options. She had somewhere to stay. People who might help her. A future that was not just survival. "I think I'll stay here for a while," she said. "Help with the shelter. Try to make things better for others like me. Maybe. Maybe if enough of us work together, we can change how the galaxy sees the Kali. Not in one day. Not in 1 year. But someday." Do-Hyun smiled. "That sounds like a good plan. What about you? Will you stay?" Do-Hyun looked up at the stars. He had been traveling for 3 months, looking for meaning. Looking for something that mattered. He had not expected to find it on a bench in a crowded station, next to an injured stranger. But maybe that was how meaning worked. You did not find it by searching. You found it by caring. "Maybe for a little while," he said. "I'd like to see this shelter get started. I'd like to help if I can." Vila nodded. Then she did something she had not done in years. She leaned over and hugged him. It was awkward. Her arm was still sore. Their bodies were different shapes. But it was real. It was warm. It was human. And it was Kelly. 2 species. 2 strangers. Connected by one simple act of kindness. When they finally pulled apart, Vela was smiling. It was a small smile. A careful smile. But it was real. "Thank you, Do-Hyun," she said. "For sitting down next to me. For seeing me when no one else did." Do-Hyun smiled back. "Thank you, Vila, for letting me help. For giving me a reason to be here." They sat together on the bench as the night cycle began and the lights of the station dimmed. Around them, the universe continued its endless dance. Stars were born and died. Ships flew between worlds. Beings lived and loved and lost. But in this one small corner of space, something had changed. A ripple had begun. And ripples Given time, could become waves. This is what it means to be human. Vela thought as she watched the stars. Not strength, not power, not technology. Just this. Just kindness. Just the courage to sit down next to someone who is suffering and say, "You are not alone." Maybe that was enough. Maybe that was everything. And as the station slept around them, two strangers sat together in the dark, and the universe felt just a little bit warmer than before. Do-hyun was 24 years old. He had brown hair that was a little too long and eyes that were warm like hot tea. He was not tall and not short. He was not handsome and not ugly. He was just ordinary. At least, that is what he thought about himself. He had been traveling for 3 months now. Earth felt like a memory. His small apartment, his boring job, his life that had felt so empty. He had saved money for years just to leave, just to see what was out there, just to find something meaningful. So far, he had found beautiful planets and strange creatures and amazing things he could never have imagined. But he had not found meaning. Not yet. He was walking through the transit station, looking for his next ship. When he saw her. At first, he almost kept walking. She was just another alien on a bench. The station was full of them. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds. But something made him stop. Maybe it was the way she sat, broken, defeated, like she had given up on everything. Maybe it was the blood. Blue blood on white cloth. It looked wrong. It looked painful. Maybe it was her face. Even from far away, he could see the tears on her purple cheeks. Do-hyun stood in the middle of the hall, watching her. People pushed past him, annoyed that he was in their way. He did not notice them. He watched as a security officer talked to her. He watched her try to stand and fall back down. He watched her cry, and something inside him moved. He did not know what species she was. He did not know her name. He did not know anything about her. But he knew one thing for certain. She needed help. And no one was helping her. Do-hyun looked around. Thousands of beings. All of them walking past. All of them ignoring her. Some of them looked at her with disgust. Some of them looked at her with fear. None of them looked at her with kindness. Why? Do-hyun did not understand. Where he came from, if someone was hurt, you helped them. It did not matter who they were. It did not matter what they looked like. You just helped. Was the rest of the galaxy different? He started walking toward her. His heart was beating fast. He was nervous. He had never talked to this species before. He did not know if she spoke his language. He did not know if she would accept his help. But he kept walking. A tall alien with 4 arms stepped in front of him. "Human," the alien said. "Where are you going?" Do-hyun pointed at the bench. "There, to help that woman." The alien made a strange sound. It took Do-hyun a moment to realize it was a laugh. "That is a Kelly," the alien said. "You do not want to help a Kelly. They are liars and thieves. She probably hurt herself while stealing something. She's bleeding," Do-hyun said. "She needs help. She needs nothing from you. Trust me, human. The Kelly are bad. Very bad. Your species is new to the galaxy. You do not know their history. Stay away from them." The alien walked away, shaking its head. Do-hyun stood still for a moment. Kelly. He had heard that word before. In stories. In warnings. People talked about the Kali like they talked about monsters. But the woman on the bench did not look like a monster. She looked like someone who was suffering. Do-hyun kept walking. Another alien, a small round creature covered in fur, ran up to him. "Friend," the creature said. "I saw you talking to the tall one. You are going to help the Kelly?" "Yes," Do-hyun said. "Why?" "She will just trick you. Take your money. Hurt you. Has she done anything to you?" The furry creature blinked. "No, but her kind, I don't care about her kind, Do-hyun said. I care about her. She's hurt. I'm going to help. He walked past the creature without waiting for a response. Finally, he reached the bench. The woman had not seen him coming. Her eyes were closed. Tears were still running down her face. Her breathing was shallow and fast. The infection on her arm looked terrible. Do-hyun sat down next to her. The bench was cold. The metal pressed against his back. He could smell blood and sweat and fear. For a moment, he did not say anything. He just sat there, close to her, letting her know she was not alone. Then the woman opened her eyes. She saw him and flinched. Her whole body moved away from him, pressing against the other side of the bench. Her dark eyes were wide with fear. "Please," she said. Her voice was weak and shaking. "Please don't hurt me. I haven't done anything. I'll leave. I'll go. Just please don't hurt me." Do-hyun felt his heart break. She was terrified of him. She expected him to hurt her. How many times had she been hurt before? How many times had someone sat next to her only to cause pain? He raised his hand slowly, showing her he held nothing. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said softly. "I promise. I just want to help." The woman stared at him. Her eyes moved over his face, searching for the lie, searching for the trick. You're human," she said, double quotes. "Yes. Humans don't know about us. About Kelly. I've heard some things." Her face fell. "Then you know. You know what they say about us. Why are you here? What do you want?" Do-hyun looked at her arm, at the blue blood, at the infection spreading like dark rivers under her skin. "You're hurt," he said. "I want to help you. Why?" It was such a simple question, but the way she asked it broke Dawn's heart even more. She did not understand why anyone would help her. She could not imagine kindness without a price. "Because you need it," Do-hyun said. "Because you're alone and scared and in pain. Because no one else is helping you. Because it's the right thing to do." The woman's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I don't have money," she whispered. "I can't pay you. I don't want your money. I don't have anything else either. Nothing. I have nothing." Do-hyun shook his head. "I don't want anything from you. I just want to help. Please, let me help." The woman stared at him for a long time. The noise of the station continued around them. Ships came and went. Beings walked past, staring at the strange sight. A human sitting with a Kaylee. It was unheard of, but Do-hyun did not care about them. He only cared about the woman in front of him. Finally, slowly, she nodded. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay," Do-hyun smiled. It was a gentle smile. A kind smile. The kind of smile that Vala had not seen in a very long time. "I'm Do-hyun," he said. "What's your name?" The woman hesitated. Names were important. Names had power. Giving someone your name meant trusting them with a piece of yourself. But this human had sat down next to her when no one else would. He had offered help when everyone else walked away. Maybe she could give him this one small thing. "Vila," she said. "My name is Vila." Do-hyun nodded. "It's nice to meet you, Vila. Now, let me see that arm. I have a medkit in my bag. It's not much, but it might help until we can get you to a real doctor." He reached into his backpack and pulled out a small white box. On the front was a red cross, the universal symbol for healing. Vila looked at the box, then at Do-hyun, then at the box again. And for the first time in 3 days, she felt something she had forgotten how to feel. Hope. Do-hyun opened the medkit and looked inside. There were bandages, cleaning wipes, pain medicine, and a small tube of healing gel. It was basic stuff. The kind of kit you could buy at any station store. Nothing special. But to Vila, it looked like treasure. "This might sting a little," Do-hyun said. I need to clean the wound first. Is that okay? Vela nodded. She was still afraid. Still waiting for the trick. Still waiting for the cruelty. But she was also so tired. So tired of fighting. So tired of being alone. If this human wanted to hurt her, maybe she was too weak to stop him anyway. But something in his eyes told her he was telling the truth. Something warm. Something real. Do-hyun carefully unwrapped the dirty cloth from her arm. Vela winced as the fabric pulled away from the wound. Blue blood had dried and stuck to the bandage. Sorry, Do-hyun said. I'm trying to be gentle. It's okay, Vela whispered. I felt worse. That made Do-hyun pause. He looked at her face. At the old scars he could see on her neck and hands. This woman had been hurt many times before. This was not her first wound. Not her first pain. He worked slowly and carefully. He cleaned the wound with the wipes. The liquid was cold and sharp, but Vela did not cry out. She just gripped the bench with her other hand and stayed quiet. You're very brave, Do-hyun said. Vela made a sound that might have been a laugh. I'm not brave. I'm just used to it. That doesn't mean you're not brave. She did not know what to say to that. No one had ever called her brave before. Around them, the station continued its busy life. But something had changed. People were starting to notice. A small crowd was forming nearby. Beings of different species stood and watched. Some were confused. Some were angry. Some were curious. A tall alien with blue skin and a fancy uniform pushed through the crowd. What is happening here? He demanded. Why are you touching that creature? Do-hyun did not look up. He kept working on Vela's arm, applying the healing gel to the wound. I'm helping her, he said simply. Helping her? She's a Kelly. They don't deserve help. Now Do-hyun looked up. His eyes were calm but firm. She's hurt, he said. She needs help. I'm giving it. Is that a problem? The blue alien opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came out. He was not used to being challenged. He was not used to humans. Most species in the galaxy knew their place. They followed the rules. They stayed away from Kelly, but humans were new. Humans did not know the rules yet. And this human did not seem to care about learning them. You don't understand, the alien said finally. The Kelly are dangerous. Has she hurt anyone today? Do-hyun asked. No, but has she stolen anything? I don't think so, but then what's the problem? The alien's face turned a darker shade of blue. The problem is history. The problem is what her people did. The problem is that she's bleeding on a bench while thousands of people walk past and do nothing. Do-hyun's voice was still calm, but there was steel underneath it. The problem is that everyone here would rather watch her die than offer a hand. That's the problem. The crowd went silent. Vela stared at Do-hyun with wide eyes. No one had ever defended her before. No one had ever spoken up for her. She was used to being invisible at best and hated at worst. But this human was different. The blue alien stepped back. His face was a mix of anger and shame. He did not know what to say. He turned and walked away, pushing through the crowd. Others followed. Some did not want to watch anymore. Some felt uncomfortable. Some felt something they had not felt in a long time. Something that hurt. Something that looked like guilt, but not everyone left. Some stayed. They watched Do-hyun work. They watched him wrap clean bandages around Vela's arm. They watched him give her water from his own bottle. They watched him treat her like she mattered. And something started to change. A small child broke away from their parent and walked up to the bench. It was the same green child from before. The one whose mother had pulled them away. Is she going to be okay? The child asked Do-hyun. Do-hyun smiled. I think so. She's very strong. The child looked at Vila. Vila looked back. For a moment, they just stared at each other. Then the child reached into their pocket and pulled out a small piece of candy. It was wrapped in bright paper. The child held it out to Vila. "This is my favorite," the child said. "But you can have it. Candy makes everything better." Vila's eyes filled with tears. She reached out with her good hand and took the candy. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you so much." The child smiled and ran back to their parent. The parent looked uncomfortable, but they did not say anything bad this time. They just watched Do Hyun finish wrapping the bandage. The wound was covered now. The healing gel would fight the infection. It was not a perfect fix, but it would buy time. "There," he said. "That should help for now. But you need real medicine. A real doctor. The infection is bad." Vila looked at her arm. The clean white bandage was such a contrast to the dirty cloth from before. It felt different. It felt cared for. "I don't have money for a doctor," she said. "Don't worry about that. I can't let you pay for me. You've already done so much." "Too much." Doyen shook his head. "I haven't done anything special. I just did what anyone should do, but no one does. That doesn't make it special. It just makes it necessary." Vila did not understand this human. Where did he come from? What kind of world made people like him? She had traveled across the galaxy and met thousands of beings. None of them were like Doyen. "Why are you really doing this?" she asked again. "I need to know. I need to understand." Dahan was quiet for a moment. He looked out at the station, at the crowds, at the ships coming and going. "On my planet," he said slowly, "we have a saying. It's old, very old. It goes, 'We rise by lifting others.' My grandmother used to say it to me when I was young. She said that the measure of a person is not how high they climb, but how many hands they reach back to help." He looked at Vila. "I saw you here, alone and hurt. I saw everyone walking past. And I thought about my grandmother. I thought about what she would say. And I knew I had to help. Not because I wanted something from you. Not because I expected a reward. Just because you needed help and I could give it." Vila felt more tears fall down her cheeks. But these were different tears. Not tears of pain or sadness. Tears of something else. Something she had almost forgotten. Gratitude. Relief. A tiny spark of belief that maybe the universe was not completely dark. "Thank you," she said. Her voice cracked on the words. "Thank you, Doyen." "Thank you." Doyen smiled and put a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're welcome, Vila. Now, let's figure out how to get you to a doctor. There must be someone on this station who will help." As if answering his words, a voice spoke from behind them. "I know a doctor. A good one. She owes me a favor." They turned to see a furry alien standing there. The same one who had tried to warn Do-hyun earlier. The one who had said Kelly were bad. The alien looked embarrassed. "I watched what you did," they said to Doyen. "How you helped her. How you spoke to the others. I felt ashamed. I have been walking past people like her my whole life. Never helping. Never caring." The alien paused. "I want to help now. If it's not too late." Daehan's smile grew wider. "It's never too late." And that was how the ripple began. The transit station was loud. Thousands of beings moved through the wide halls, their voices mixing together like water in a river. Some walked fast. Some walked slow. Some floated. Some crawled. The station was a meeting point for dozens of species from across the galaxy. Ships came and went every few minutes. The air smelled like metal and fuel and strange foods from far-away planets. In the middle of all this noise and movement, there was a bench. It was old and simple, made of gray metal. And on that bench sat a woman who was not human. Her name was Vila. Vila had pale purple skin and large, dark eyes that looked like deep pools of water. Her hair was white and fell past her shoulders in thin strands. She was thin and small, and her body was wrapped in torn clothes that had once been clean. Now they were dirty and stained with something blue. The blue was her blood. Her left arm hung at her side, wrapped in pieces of cloth she had torn from her own shirt. The cloth was wet with blue blood. She had tried to stop the bleeding, but the wound was deep. It hurt to move. It hurt to breathe. It hurt to think, but the worst pain was not in her arm. The worst pain was in her chest. Because no one would look at her. Vela watched as hundreds of beings walked past her. Tall creatures with 4 arms. Short creatures with no eyes. Beings made of light. Beings made of stone. All of them moved through the station, talking and laughing and living their lives, and none of them stopped. Some of them looked at her for a moment. Their eyes would move to her face, then to her arm, then away. They would walk faster. They would turn their heads. They would pretend she was not there. Vela was used to this. She was Kaile. In the galaxy, the Kali were known as liars and thieves. Long ago, her people had done terrible things. They had cheated other species. They had stolen from trade ships. They had broken promises and started wars. That was hundreds of years ago. But the galaxy had a long memory. Now, the Kali were scattered across the stars. They had no home planet anymore. They lived on the edges of society, taking small jobs, staying in the shadows, hoping not to be noticed. And when they were noticed, they were hated. Viola closed her eyes and leaned back against the cold metal of the bench. She could hear the sounds of the station around her, the beeping of machines, the rumble of ships, the chatter of voices in languages she did not understand. She was so tired. 3 days ago, she had been working on a cargo ship. It was not a good job. The pay was bad and the captain was cruel. But it was work. It was a way to survive. Then the traffickers came. They attacked the ship in deep space. They killed the captain and the crew. They took the cargo. And they took Vila. The traffickers were going to sell her. In some parts of the galaxy, Kelly were worth money. Their blood had special properties. Their organs could be used for medicine. There were rich beings who would pay a lot for a Kelly body. Vela did not want to become a product. So she fought. She fought harder than she had ever fought in her life. She bit and kicked and screamed. When one of the traffickers grabbed her arm, she broke free so hard that his knife cut deep into her flesh. Blue blood went everywhere, but she escaped. She found a small transport pod and launched herself into space. She did not know where she was going. She just wanted to get away. The pod brought her here, to this station, to this bench, and now she was alone. Vala opened her eyes and looked at her arm. The bleeding had slowed, but the wound was getting worse. She could see infection starting around the edges. Purple and black lines were spreading up toward her shoulder. She needed medicine. She needed a doctor, but medicine cost money. And doctors asked questions. Vala had no money. And if she answered questions, someone might call the authorities. The authorities would check her records. They would see that she was Kelly. They would send her away. Or worse, they would send her back to the traffickers. So she sat on the bench and waited. She was not sure what she was waiting for. Maybe she was waiting to die. Maybe she was waiting for a miracle. Maybe she was just too tired to move. A medical droid rolled past her. It was white and clean, with a red cross painted on its chest. Vala lifted her good hand and waved at it. "Please," she said. Her voice was weak. "I need help." The droid stopped. Its camera eye looked at her. It scanned her body. Then a small screen on its chest lit up with words. "Payment required. 500 credits for basic treatment. I don't have credits, Vela whispered. Please, I'm dying. The droid's eye blinked once. Then it turned and rolled away. Vela let her hand fall back to her side. She was not surprised. This was how the galaxy worked. If you had money, you lived. If you did not have money, you died. And if you were Kelly, you died faster. She looked around the station one more time. Thousands of beings. Thousands of lives. Not one of them cared about her. A group of tall blue aliens walked past. They saw her and made sounds of disgust. One of them said something in a language Vela understood. Look at that. A Kelly. Probably stole something and got what she deserved. They laughed and kept walking. Vela felt tears form in her eyes. She blinked them away. Crying would not help. Crying would just make her weaker. She leaned her head back against the bench and looked up at the high ceiling of the station. Through the glass panels, she could see stars. Millions and millions of stars. Somewhere out there was her home. A planet that no longer existed. A people who were scattered and hated. She wondered if anyone would notice when she died. She wondered if anyone would care. Probably not. She closed her eyes again and tried to sleep. Maybe if she slept, the pain would go away. Maybe if she slept, she would wake up somewhere better. Or maybe she would not wake up at all. Either way, it did not matter anymore. Nothing mattered anymore. The station continued to move around her. Ships came and went. Beings walked and talked and lived their lives. The universe kept spinning. And Vela sat alone on her bench, bleeding and broken. Waiting for the end. She did not know that her life was about to change. She did not know that somewhere in the station, a pair of human eyes had just noticed her. She did not know that hope was walking toward her. Not yet. Vala remembered the first time someone called her a thief. She was only a child then. Maybe 7 years old in human counting. Her mother had taken her to a market on a small moon called Paro. It was a busy place, full of merchants selling food and clothes and tools. Vala had been looking at a small toy. It was a little ship made of metal, painted bright red. She liked how it shined in the light. She was just looking at it, not touching it, when the merchant screamed at her. Get away from my goods, you little Cali rat. I know you're kind. You steal everything. Vala did not understand. She had not stolen anything. She had not even touched the toy. But the merchant kept screaming, and soon other people came to look. Her mother grabbed her hand and pulled her away. They ran through the market while people shouted bad words at them. Some threw things. A rock hit Vala's shoulder. When they were safe, her mother held her close and whispered in her ear, "This is our life, my child. This is what it means to be Kaylee. We carry the sins of our ancestors. We pay for crimes we did not commit. It is not fair, but it is real." Vala never forgot those words. Now, sitting on the bench in the transit station, she understood them better than ever. She had spent her whole life trying to be good. She never stole. She never lied. She worked hard at every job she could find. She was kind to others, even when they were cruel to her. But none of it mattered, because she was Kelly. The infection in her arm was getting worse. She could feel heat spreading under her skin. Her whole arm felt like it was on fire. The purple and black lines had spread past her elbow now. Soon they would reach her heart. She knew she did not have much time. A family of small green beings walked past her bench. There were 2 adults and 3 children. The children were playing some kind of game, chasing each other and laughing. One of the children ran close to Vala and stopped. The child looked at her with big, curious eyes. "Mommy," the child said, "that lady is hurt. Her arm is blue." The mother grabbed the child's hand and pulled them away quickly. "Don't look at her," the mother said in a sharp voice. "Stay away from her kind." The family hurried off. The child looked back once, still curious, but the mother pulled harder. Vela felt something break inside her chest. She had always loved children. She had always hoped that one day she might have her own family, a husband who loved her, children who called her mother, a home where she belonged. But that dream seemed impossible now. Who would love a Kelly? Who would want to raise children that the galaxy would hate from the moment they were born? Sometimes Vela wondered if her people deserved this. The history book said the ancient Kali were terrible. They had done evil things. They had hurt millions of innocent beings across many worlds. But that was so long ago. None of the Kali alive today had done those things. They were not their ancestors. They were just people trying to survive in a galaxy that wanted them gone. Was that fair? Was that justice? Vela did not think so. But she was too tired to be angry anymore. She watched the crowds move through the station. So many different species. So many different faces. Some of them probably had dark histories too. Some of them probably came from planets that had done terrible things in the past. But only the Kali were marked forever. Only the Kali carried their shame on their skin. A security officer walked past. He was tall and covered in gray scales. His uniform was black with gold buttons. He carried a weapon on his belt. Vela's heart started to beat faster. She lowered her head and tried to look small. She did not want the officer to notice her. Security officers meant questions. Questions meant trouble. But the officer stopped in front of her bench. "You?" he said. His voice was cold. "How long have you been here?" Vela did not look up. "A few hours, sir. This is not a sleeping area. Move along." "I'm sorry, sir. I'm just resting. I'm injured." The officer made a sound that might have been a laugh. "I can see that. Not my problem. The station rules say no one can stay in this area for more than 2 hours. You need to leave." Vela finally looked up. Her dark eyes met the officer's yellow ones. "Please," she said. "I have nowhere to go. I just need a little more time." The officer's eyes moved to her arm, to the blue blood, to the infection spreading across her skin. For a moment, something flickered in his expression. It might have been pity. Then it was gone. 2 hours is the rule, he said. "I'll be back this way in 30 minutes. If you're still here, I'll have you removed." He walked away without another word. Vela watched him go. 30 minutes. That was all the time she had. After that, she would be thrown out of the station. Into the cold of space. Into nothing. Maybe that would be better. Maybe dying in space would be faster than dying from infection. She tried to stand up. Her legs shook. Her head spun. She managed to get halfway up before her knees gave out, and she fell back onto the bench. She could not move. She was too weak. "Please," she whispered to no one. "Someone please help me." But no one heard her. Or if they did not care. A cleaning robot rolled past and sprayed water on the floor near her feet. It did not even notice her. Vela laughed. It was a sad, broken sound. Even the robots ignored her. She looked at her arm again. The wound was ugly now. The skin around it was turning black. The infection was winning. Her body was dying. She thought about her mother. Her mother had died 5 years ago, alone on a distant planet. Vela had not been there. She had been working on a ship far away. By the time she got the message, her mother was already gone. She thought about her father. He had disappeared when Vela was young. Some said he was killed by people who hated Kelly. Others said he ran away. Vala never knew the truth. She thought about all the people she had met in her life. The cruel ones who hurt her. The kind ones who tried to help. There have been so few kind ones. She could count them on one hand. And now she was alone. Completely alone. She closed her eyes and let the tears fall. She did not care anymore. Let people see her cry. Let them think she was weak. She was weak. She had always been weak. The galaxy had beaten her down so many times that she had no strength left. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She was not sure who she was talking to. Maybe her mother. Maybe her ancestors. Maybe herself. "I'm sorry, I wasn't strong enough." The noise of the station continued around her. Ships took off and landed. Beings walked and talked. Life went on. And Vila cried alone on her bench, waiting for the end. 20 minutes left before the security officer returned. 20 minutes left before. She was thrown away like garbage. She did not see the young man who had stopped walking. She did not see him watching her from across the hall. She did not see the look in his eyes, the look that said he had made a decision. She did not see him start walking toward her. Not yet. But in 20 minutes, everything would change, because Do-hyun had seen her. And Do-hyun was not like the others. Do-hyun was human.